Hi there. Welcome. This is a blog entry to answer a question.
All right. I'm smiling a lot because it's just so much fun being out here and with my beautiful wife and connecting with you all, and it's just a wonderful day. So you have to excuse the smiling. I do that sometimes.
Oh dear.
Being in the flow. So, Caitlin had a question on her inbox
that I wanted to address
and to talk about, and it has to do with flowing and grasping and repelling. So, you want to read it?
Yeah, absolutely. Of course, we're keeping it anonymous because we really want anyone to always feel welcome to ask us a question. We're very happy to help. So here's the question. I read the piece that Christopher wrote on holding and letting go, grabbing and allowing flow, and I have a question I'd like to ask you. My former wife leaves messages on my phone, and I have repeatedly asked her to put all communication in writing for two reasons. First, she is not trustworthy, and when I have trusted her with verbal agreements, I have lost a great deal of money. Second, it is a boundary issue. I do not wish to hear her voice or what she has to say. I feel I have the right to communicate with whomever I wish, and I find her comments distressful, disturbing of my peace. Generally, her messages are meant to be hurtful. That note sent by Christopher did mention resistance and blocking, and I note that when I ask her to write, she is more inclined to call. So I get the opposite response. I'm curious, if you were manifesting this sort of experience in your life, how would you address it? It is a fabulous question.
That's right.
And it's some great awareness, because the writer, he's absolutely right. The more he is unhappy with the phone calls and the more he says, please put it in writing, no doubt the more he gets the phone calls.
Yep.
That's how it works.
The blog that he was referring to was the way I started this blog. It's about grasping and repelling in life. And it basically began with what happens when you push somebody. You push them, they push back, right? So, this is basically universal law in life, and if you want to live in the flow, and if you don't want to manifest things in your life that are negative or you don't like, you need to get rid of the pushing. And because often in relationships what happens is when there are power struggles, whether it's control issues, power struggles, whatever it is, the more one side pushes, the more the other side pushes back, and then the other side will escalate it, and the other side will escalate it. Of course, there can't be any harmony in a situation like that. And in the bigger sense in life, if you find yourself pushing and repelling those things you don't like, guess what you're going to manifest in your life? More of the things you don't like.
Now, I think it's important to know that it doesn't matter whether he's right or wrong. In other words, it could be that she is supposed to send things in writing, and it's not fun or fair that she's probably violating a court order. But what are you going to do? There's no parent to go and, say, hey, she's writing, or not writing. So what's really important is to notice that whether you're right or wrong doesn't matter. What really matters is that he's being bothered by this, and that's what we want to address. And within his source energy, within the deeper parts of himself, he doesn't have this issue. In other words, this is something that bothers him. She pushes his buttons. And so really what I would do, or what Chris would do, is we would work with the button. If there's no button, there's no pushing.
That's right. We have a course coming up about manifesting and living in the flow and living by what we call the laws of self. And part of that is in this situation, what should this person do? If you're always looking externally, trying to get somebody to change externally in your life, if you're trying to get the world to change, if you're trying to get your boss to change, if you're trying to get a relationship to change, and you're pushing and pushing and pushing at that, you're going to have a very stressful life, and chances are you may sometimes be able to do it with brute force, but it's going to come back at you.
And it's going to exhaust you.
And you're going to be exhausted, and you're not going to be a happy person. You're not going to be living in the flow. You need to turn within, see what the source of the irritation, he says he's irritated, of the charge. This will go deeper than just the situation. Let the situation go for now. Tune in, find that charge, and see if you can, what we call, flow it.
Let it flow.
Let it flow. Let it go downstream. Do what you can to just allow it to pass through you. In my blog I mentioned the art of Aikido, which is a martial art the Japanese developed about 35 years ago. I'd done some Aikido at one time in my life, and it's a beautiful martial art because there is no repelling. You just take the person's assault on you, onslaught, and you take their energy and you let it flow through you. In fact, then you just use their energy to put them down or whatever you need to do.